hop in this joint real quick. All right, peace and blessings, everybody. Welcome to YB's Collaboration Corner, which is a part of the Self-Published in 30 Days podcast. I am your host, Rob YB Youngblood, President of Sales for Self-Published in 30 Days, and your LinkedIn locksmith. I got to throw that in because some people might not know. I know we got a bunch of people that are joining us who may come to us from Clubhouse, and they may see us on Thursdays where we do LinkedIn for authors. So shout out to you if you're listening and watching. But I have the pleasure of having a good friend, a client, a trailblazer, Mr. Pierre Quinn on YB's Collaboration Corner. How you doing, Pierre?
YB, man, whenever we're having a conversation, I'm usually feeling pretty good. So yeah, I'm feeling pretty good right now.
I love it. I love it. I love it. Now, this gentleman, I'm going to give you an opportunity to introduce yourself as only you could, but I want to give everybody some perspective. So Pierre is an author, right? So we interview authors here too, right? But he is a serious connector. He and I connected through a mutual friend. I was able to do some work with him on his LinkedIn profile, but that's not the most amazing part. Pierre is a phenomenal speaker. He's a trainer. He's a husband. He's a father. He's a collaborator. And I wanted to have him on to have a conversation about how collaboration creates currency for him. So Pierre, if you don't mind, just go ahead and introduce yourself. Let the people know who you are. Give them your background. Just go ahead and drop some receipts.
Yeah. So, man, several years ago, I started a consulting company that focuses on working with leaders and teams to assess their strengths, to build stronger organizational cultures, and to foster the relationships, to foster the connections that lead to personal and professional transformation. Starting this company has afforded me the privilege of literally traveling across the country, talking to leaders, talking to teams from Fortune 500 companies to some of the top universities and nonprofits in the country, doing this work. And a big part of my focus is on individuals who are just at the beginning of their career or who have just recently made a pivot. We spend so much time, energy, effort at our C-suite, and I have great C-suite clients at our director's level, but there are some people who are just starting on their journey that need the coaching, that need the training, that need the support. And I spend a lot of my efforts there in building organizations and teams.
That's awesome, man. So how did you get to this point? I mean, let's talk about, because I'm sure you obviously, I know you've been doing this for quite some time, man, but how did you get here? Like what was the steps that you took to get you to the point where you are today?
Yeah. So, man, going back in the timeline, and sometimes I get goosebumps, man, when I retell this story, when I go over the details of it.
Yeah.
I'm a church kid, like a church kid through and through. And it's what's common for a lot of church kids who have an ability to speak well, like the moniker they stamp church kids with that can speak well, is that automatically in some form or fashion, you're going to be a pastor, you're going to be a minister, you're going to be an evangelist, whatever. So part of me, I went down that road in the second stage of my career. The first stage of my career, I was a college instructor. I taught public speaking. I taught interpersonal communication. I taught business communication for several years. I did fundraising and development. And then I eventually went to Bible college, to seminary to study. And during this time, I was also teaching. I was my second round of teaching. So I have these two things going at the same time. I'm in seminary studies to prepare to be a pastor, a congregational leader, and I'm teaching business communication, interpersonal communication, and introduction to public speaking. These things are happening at the same time. So we get down to the end of my time in seminary, and I'm preparing for my congregational assignment. What church am I going to pastor? And I remember the chair of the department where I was teaching said to me, "Hey, we really want you to stay here and teach. I want to put you on the track to do your PhD. I'm going to help you. I'm going to coach you. I'm going to mentor you." And I'm like, I spent 3 years training to be a pastor. I'm going to test the waters.
Yeah.
And she says to me, okay. Well, will you give a final lecture? So this was 2012. Will you give a final lecture? We're going to set it up kind of almost like TED Talk style. We'll give you 18 minutes to tell the story of your teaching journey and your experiences. You were undergrad here. You were a grad student in communication. You came back to the theological seminary here. You continued to teach through that process. Can you just tell us a story? So I said, yeah, I'll tell the story. And man, I told the story. It's maybe about 100 or so people in this assembly hall, this classroom space. And I tell the story of my teaching journey and what I learned about life and leadership and mentorship and connections. I tell this story in about, I went over time. I went like 25 minutes.
Yeah.
And at the end of it, I'm just like, wow, wait a minute, what just happened? Like seriously, like what just happened as I'm going through these experiences? And I remember maybe it was about 15, 20 minutes later, I'm talking with the chair of the department who mentored me all of these years. And we're just having conversations on how the program went. And another student who is, a phenomenal author and teacher now, like she's doing incredible work. Her name is Heather Day. And at the time she was a student in the department, communication department at our alma mater, Andrews University. And she says, hey, you ever thought about being like a professional speaker? I was like, I thought about being a college professor.
Yeah.
I've been teaching. I thought about being a pastor.
Right.
That's what I trained for.
Right.
But I never thought about being like a professional speaker. Like where they do that at?
Yeah,
Like,
where they do that at? Where they do that at?
Where does that happen? And that thing just sat on me. In the entire summer, I am Googling, how do you become a professional speaker? How do you do this? I'm watching every free webinar.
Yeah.
I'm downloading every PDF. I'm watching every YouTube video.
Yeah.
And my professional speaking training coaching career comes into being at the same time that I start pastoring. They ride side by side for a number of years until ultimately in 2019, I just really felt the calling to transition full time into this training, coaching, speaking work. So that's the more Cliff Notes version of the story of how we got to the space where we are now. Yeah,
that's good, man. And that actually sets up for the next question, because, really want to get the focus on how collaboration, changed your life. So essentially you had two people, and you likely have more, but based on your story, you had two people that came in and was able to assist you in getting into that trajectory. One was the mentor who said, hey, listen, we want you to come here and teach, but hey, let's give you one final opportunity to share your story. So that's one. And then you had your classmate who was like, hey, have you ever considered? So let's talk a little bit about how collaboration has impacted you personally and your business. Give us, outside of those two opportunities, let's talk about any type of collaboration. Well, first of all, what is your definition of collaboration?
So my definition of collaboration is partnering with someone to bring about a transformation that's mutually beneficial. So partnering with someone to bring about a transformation that's mutually beneficial. And I think a lot of times when we enter into this space of collaboration, we're one-sided with it, right? We're both huge fans of Bob Berg.
Right.
And Bob Berg is like, yo, if you're not thinking about the other person, you're in the wrong game. Yeah. That's not the way this goes. And earlier in my career, I was like, yo, I am looking to meet people because I'm trying to get something out of the exchange.
Right.
Not focusing on where is the reciprocity. What am I bringing to them? What's of value to them? Yes, I can get an opportunity. Yes, I can get a speaking gig. Yes, I can get a check. What do they get from being around me, from working with me, from partnering with me? Right. So early on in the speaking piece, I remember my very first paid speaking engagement. I will never forget this.
Yeah.
Speaking engagement outside of a pastoral context.
Okay.
It was from the University of Louisville, African American Male Initiative, and academic probation students. I had 3 hours with them. I drove to the University of Louisville from where we lived in Bowling Green, Kentucky.
Right.
They said, listen, you got 3 hours. You got 3 hours to take them through your perspective, because I was an academic probation student as well.
Okay.
The only reason why I was an academic probation student was because I lost my scholarship my first year because I didn't go to class. That was it. I had like a 0.67 GPA to end of freshman year.
Wow.
Yeah, I almost died because my parents almost killed me.
Oh yeah, I can only imagine.
So lost my academic scholarship, all of those things. So I knew what it was like to build back from literally ground zero,
Right.
rebuilding an academic career. So I
Yeah.
had this time with them, and they paid me more money than I had ever gotten paid for a speaking engagement up to that point. I
Right.
think it was $1,400. So I made $1,400 in 3 hours,
Yeah. Yeah.
plus
Yeah.
or minus. And I was like, wait a minute, there's something here.
Yes, sir.
There's something
Yes,
here.
sir.
Here's what I missed, YB. I only saw that exchange with the University of Louisville as a one-time transaction.
Mm,
I did not explore what were the other opportunities for us to mutually be beneficial to each other. I had a
right.
couple of more engagements with University of Louisville.
Right.
I was only focused on what can I get out of this experience,
Right.
not what could I bring to them. So
Yeah.
now my space is regardless of if you do business with me, I am going to, it's this plug mentality.
Yeah.
Who can I connect you with?
Yeah.
So if we do business together, you have access to my network
Yeah.
where we'll connect you in. But even if we don't do business together, I'm going to introduce you to at least one other person
Right.
that's going to be transformative to you. And sometimes the collaboration isn't a 5-figure consulting contract.
Right.
Sometimes the collaboration is, hey, we're on this Zoom call. We got 30 minutes. Let's put all of our ideas on the table, and let's see how we can be mutually beneficial
Mhm.
that will lead to a transformation.
Yeah, that's good. That's good. And so would you say the type of currency that those collaborative experiences is more than just monetary? Well, like, would you say that?
Yeah. So, man, so my dad, a long time ago, I would say I was in high school, just drifting into college. My dad said, he said, son, don't pray for money. I said, what you talking about? Come on, we live in the hood. Stop playing. He said, yeah, don't pray for money because money is short lived. He said, pray for favor.
Mm.
Favor lasts longer.
So let's break that down a little bit, because there may be some people listening, they don't know what favor is. Now, obviously, I know, you got the word and you
Yeah,
know
yeah,
the
yeah,
word,
yeah.
but let's break it down so people can understand that, because I 100% agree and live by
Yeah.
that divine word of favor. But let's break that down so people can understand what that means.
So the concept of favor is, at least how I frame it, is an esteem or regard that's applicable to who you are, regardless of if you're in a particular space or not.
Mm,
It's an esteem or regard for who you are, and it is working regardless of if you're in the room or not. In fact, in most cases, this idea or concept of favor or
mm,
regard or
yeah,
bringing attention to your work happens when you're not in the room.
right.
It happens when you're not around. Someone mentions you. For example,
Hmm.
based on our relationship,
Yeah,
people will say to me, hey, I see you doing some great things on LinkedIn. Can you maybe talk to me about your LinkedIn strategy and what you're doing? And I
right,
say, no, I can't. You need to talk to my LinkedIn coach, YB.
right, right.
So in the context of our conversation, I'm esteeming you or regarding you or
Hmm.
bringing attention to what you're doing, and you're not even around.
Yeah, that's
That
good.
has a longer shelf life than money,
Yeah,
because eventually, you get a great contract, a great gig, a great client, that revenue runs out,
yeah,
and you're looking for the next revenue piece, the next revenue stream, depending on how
yeah,
your business is set up. But
yeah.
this idea of regard, esteem, someone
Hmm.
bringing attention to your work,
Hmm.
depending on how you carry yourself and how that favor is exercised, it becomes this perpetual thing
Yeah,
that goes. It's like in a maybe in a simpler sense, this idea of brand name recognition.
right, right.
So I buy a pair of Jordans, right?
Hmm.
And here's the thing about the Jordan brand. The Jordan brand is more powerful than the any actual pair of Jordan sneakers,
Right.
because you can have I know it's subjective
Yeah,
aesthetically. You can
yeah,
have an ugly looking pair of Jordans, an ugly colorway,
yeah,
but simply because they retain the Jordan logo,
yeah.
you are respected, at least with sneakerheads,
Right,
because you're rocking a pair of Jordans.
right.
Because the favor is on the idea of the Jordan name,
That's good.
and that's being brought to a particular pair of sneakers. So it's the same thing.
Hmm.
Whenever you step into a space, whatever space that is, hey, what do you do? Yeah, I coach executives. Okay.
Right.
I speak to teams and do trainings. Yes, I do executive retreats. Yes, I do
Hmm.
X, Y, and Z.
Hmm.
But when people are familiar with you, it's not me having to work a lot to explain what I do.
Hmm. Yeah.
It's, hey, have you heard about Pierre?
Right.
Hey, have you heard about YB?
Right.
That's that regard, esteem, doing the work for you. And
Yeah.
my dad said, listen, money is short lived. But when people highly esteem you, highly regard you,
Hmm.
recommend you, connect you with other people, pray for that because that lasts a lifetime.
Yeah, your father's super wise. I'm so excited that I had the opportunity to connect with him on LinkedIn. I'm looking forward to building with him as well. So you let him know. I'm gonna see if I can get him on the YB's collaboration corner as well. But I'll say this: when it comes to collaboration,
Mhm.
who do you look to collaborate with in this season? You know, with everything you've done, you know, as a pastor,
Yeah.
you know, as an educator, as a trainer, as a speaker, as a husband, as a dad, like who do you look to collaborate with in this season?
Yeah. So I got three major buckets. One of the major buckets is other creatives who are entrepreneurs who draw strength from sharing ideas.
Mm.
We're in a room. I'm working on a project. You're working on a project. Another person's working on a project. We bring that project to the table. Everybody brings their project to the table and say, hey, this is what I'm thinking.
Mhm.
These are my hiccups. This is the opportunities. What do you think? And that collaborative process of saying, hey, this is great. Like even before we hopped on the call, you and I were talking and we were talking about a project I had worked on and you were like, hey, this is great. And consider this.
Mhm.
And conversely, depending on the nature of the relationship, I should be able to say, YB, this is great.
Right,
Consider this.
right, right.
That's a collaboration.
Yeah,
We're not exchanging currency, but we're exchanging ideas. And
right, right.
ideas are always more powerful than currency.
Yeah.
So collaborations where I can hang out with other creatives and we can ideate. So strengths finder test, my top one is ideation.
Mm.
It's YB is so deep, and I started to listen to a lot of comics, right? It's so deep now that even if I was a comic and somebody stole my joke, I wouldn't sweat it.
Right.
You know why? One, they will never be able to deliver it the
The
way
way
that I
that you
could.
deliver it. Yep, yep,
But
yep.
two, I have so much more coming behind it because I'm an ideator.
Yeah,
So you can still program ideas. You can
yeah,
still talk.
yeah.
You can steal lines from my keynote presentation. You can steal my slides.
Right, right.
But I have so much coming after that that I'm not sweating that.
So I heard somebody say you can steal my style, but you can't steal my swag.
Listen,
You feel me? And it's I love that, bro. And the beauty of it is because you're self-aware,
yeah,
you know, you have the ability to just continue to create. And so, like you said, you know, and I think a lot of it has to do with having an abundance mentality, man. You know what I'm
absolutely.
saying? Like there's a bunch of people who have this mentality that it's like scarcity, like, you know, I don't want to share anything with anybody because if I do, I don't want to collaborate with anybody because what if they steal my idea? And like I was telling somebody the other day, man, if somebody stole a client that I was working with, they wasn't really my client in the first place. You
Mm,
feel me? So at the end of the day, your sheep will know your voice and they'll rock
yeah.
with you. So I love that, man. I love that. I love your definition of collaboration first and foremost. I love that you're looking for people. So you mentioned that there's three buckets. So you mentioned the first buckets. What are the other two buckets?
So that bucket of hanging out with other creatives for ID exchange, that's how I grow. That's how I stretch. The second bucket for me in this sort of phase of life and of my business is collaborating with folks who lead talent development programs.
Okay.
Here's what I'm running into, YB. We I'm gonna drop this on your podcast. I
Come
haven't
on,
shared it
bring it. Come
anywhere
on.
else.
Come on, bring it. We got the exclusive. I need my sound there on here so I can hit that. Pew, pew, pew. Come on, let's go.
This is where I see a lot of people who work in talent development, human resources, organizational development, instructional design, wherever they work for their organization, not for their own business, but for their organization. And where the conflict is with people like me. The conflict comes in because you want to be what I am for your organization.
Right. Right.
You want to be what I am for your organization. And I tell people all the time, don't try to be what I am for your organization. Be who you are for a different organization.
Come on now. Come on now.
So do your job.
Yeah.
Do your job and don't block independent consultants, contractors, and trainers who come in.
Yeah.
And I don't come in with your organizational baggage. I don't come in with your red tape. I don't come in with the apprehensions.
That's
As
good.
a matter of fact, people may be more willing to listen to my perspective, and I can ask some hard questions that you can't ask because your organizational, the way that you are caught up in the organizational structure in life.
Plus those people are too close. They're too close to it. And you come in, and here's the beautiful thing about being a coach. I tell you, I used to tell y'all this all the time, right? Hey, I ain't got no problem with stepping on your toes, bro. Like, it's funny, this new cohort that I'm working with, I told them straight up, I said, listen, here's where now you start to see the coach, right? And I start stepping on their toes. But here's what I told them. I said it with a huge smile. I said, but there's no refund policy. Right. So you can run from the critique, you can run from the correction. But what you fail to realize is that because you don't accept that, and not that it's abuse, because there's definitely a difference between abuse and correction. But I think if you run from that, you don't allow yourself to get stretched beyond what your comfort level is. And so when you come in as an outsider, you're stretching the people beyond what the people on the inside are comfortable with doing, because they feel like, I don't want to lose these people when I stretch them. You feel me? And here's another reality. Those people that say that they want to be like you, they may have never been stretched themselves.
Come on, YB.
So you can't stretch somebody if you ain't never been stretched. So that's good that you're looking for people in that talent development space, which I think is very, very important. Let's talk about your third bucket, and then I want to get into just a little bit of how people can find you and potentially collaborate with you if you're someone that they want to work with.
Yeah. So the third bucket for me it's really there's this. Have you ever had Garrett's popcorn out of Chicago?
I haven't, but here's an opportunity for me to plug Lamar Marie's gourmet popcorn. So I just want to throw that out there real quick.
I'm sure Lamar Marie.
Yeah, Lamar Marie's. Yep.
Yeah, I gotta connect with them. I gotta
buddy.
For them.
So I got some for you. Don't even do nothing. I got some for you.
Yeah. So we're gonna use the Lamar Marie analogy, even though I haven't met them yet. And if I'm wrong, you can correct me.
Okay, bet.
And this idea of you can split your mix. So I can add two different flavors at the same time.
At the same time, right.
And get that split mix, that salty sweet at the same time.
Right.
So for me, the split mix in this third bucket is people who are slightly behind me and people who are 10 years in front of me.
Come on.
That's the collaboration piece that I'm in now. People who are 10 years or 10 steps ahead of me in this game, not necessarily of training and consulting and speaking, maybe so, but this idea of entrepreneurship, of having a strong family, of leaving a legacy. I want to collaborate with the people who are 10 years ahead of me.
Right.
For a number of reasons. One, some of the ideas, innovations, technologies, perspectives that I have being 10 years younger, I can use it to help them elevate what they're doing.
Yeah.
Two, the success that they have being 10 years ahead is a benefit for me.
Yes, sir.
So I talk to people all the time. They ask me, hey, tell me about your camera. Tell me about your microphone. Tell me about I see you do some graphics, and how do you set this up? Oh, no problem. Here's the menu. Here's the playbook. All right, so tell me, how do you sustain your family? Tell me, how do you do your client acquisition? Tell me, when you walk into certain rooms, what do you say?
Yeah.
And then there's these opportunities to partner on projects. One of my mentors now, my mentor, who's actually a senior advisor to my business, the Cardell Group, he ran a consulting firm. He ran a division of a consulting firm, 1,000 consultants, multi-million-dollar projects. and we're having these conversations as we're working on, he's coaching me and we're working on projects together to bring it to the marketplace. And
Right.
he said, man, there's just some stuff that I'm learning from you.
Mm.
There's just some stuff I'm learning from you. So that's one side of the mix. The other side of the mix is individuals who are maybe 10 steps behind me.
Mm-hmm.
Particularly, there's an affinity towards faith-based individuals, particularly small church pastors who are looking to elevate and bring more than their preaching to the marketplace and to the
Yeah.
world.
Yeah.
Because there's so much more than weekend sermons that you have to offer, the training, development, management, coaching, mentoring that the world needs, along with your weekend sermons. They need these other pieces. And I collaborate and connect with and form partnerships with people who are in that space to bring them ahead a little bit and elevate what they have, share with the rest of the world.
Yeah, I love it. I love it. And as you were talking, a name popped in my mind. So I'll make sure I share that with you offline, because we'll make sure we do it the right way. But
Yeah.
so let's talk a little bit as we land the plane, Pierre, because you're dropping so many great nuggets. I'm sure folks are interested in knowing, how can they collaborate with you? Obviously, you've mentioned how you want to collaborate with others. If folks wanted to collaborate with you, what is it that you're looking for from others? Like if somebody approaches you with an idea or an opportunity, and it's maybe not in those three buckets, but they may want to collaborate with you, how can they do that? Tell those who are listening, like how can they collaborate with you outside of what you're looking for?
Mm-hmm. So the best place to get connected with me, I'll start there. The best place to get connected with me is actually my social media platform of choice. That is LinkedIn.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody got their social media platform of choice. Every expert out there tells you how you need to be on that particular platform. My social media platform of choice is LinkedIn. I'm not just saying that because you happen to be my LinkedIn coach.
Come on,
Not
bro.
at all.
Talk that talk, man.
Not at
Talk
all.
that talk.
I'm saying it because my visibility, credibility, and profitability have risen more on LinkedIn than any other social media platform that I've been on.
Mm-hmm.
And we got receipts.
Yeah.
We got some major clients and major projects that have come as a result of being active on LinkedIn. Yeah. So hang out with me on LinkedIn. That's a great place to do it. So some of you are thinking, all right, I'm hearing what Pierre is saying. How could I possibly work with him? I want to collaborate. What can we collaborate on? Mm-hmm. One is let's collaborate on better positioning you to have greater impact in your organization. Mm-hmm. Let's collaborate on that. Let's put our heads together and talk about a particular program or initiative that may involve me coming in and doing some training or series of webinars or a set of virtual showcases. That may simply involve us talking, having a strategic conversation every week about your role in your organization and how to maximize that role. See, the thing about collaboration is that sometimes we think, like music industry, we were doing music industry references earlier before we hopped on the call, right?
Right.
Sometimes we think a collaboration has to be like a blockbuster.
Mm-hmm.
It has to be like whoever's hot right now, a J. Cole and a Drake coming on a track. Right. And that's a monster collaboration.
Yeah.
The secret is, and I'm learning this, especially from people who are 10 steps ahead of me, some of the greatest collaborations you don't hear about until you experience the outcome.
Come on now. I love it.
Some of the greatest collaborations. We might not put it on social media that we're working on a project together.
Right.
We might not draw a lot of attention to it, but I guarantee you, because this is reciprocity and mutually beneficial, the outcomes, and for every person that I work with, for every client, the outcomes have been so tangible and transformative. The next question is, okay, what's the next thing we're doing? What can we do it again?
Yeah, I love it. I love it. I love it. Listen, you've been listening to Pierre Quinn, who is literally killing the game on not only LinkedIn, but so many other platforms. I'm blessed to have you as my client, my friend. We built a pretty solid relationship over the last several months. And I got to give a shout out to Quincy Conyers. for just, well, Quinn Conyers. I gave her a middle name, so I don't know if C is her middle name, but Quinn Conyers for just pulling us together. And that speaks to the power of collaboration, because she and I have collaborated on a number of projects. And as a result, that opened up that door for us to connect here. So I'm very proud of you, man. Once again, tell the people where they can find you. Tell us, your company, your website, all that stuff, so people can get at you. And let's close it out.
Yeah. So best place to reach me, LinkedIn, of course. Just go to LinkedIn and type in Pierre Quinn. You'll see my face. There's not a lot of Pierre Quinns on LinkedIn, so that's a great place to start. And you hear my voice, so you'll be able to clue in really quickly that, yeah, that's got to be the Pierre Quinn. Yeah. The other thing is checking out my website, pierrecquinn.com. pierrecquinn.com is the second best place to get in contact. You can hit the contact button. You can send me a message, and we will definitely get connected. And I want to leave you with this. I want to leave you with something that I got from YB during one of our coaching sessions that I think is going to be very important for you as you're listening to this podcast episode. And we were talking about work, we were talking about projects, we were talking about revenue and what was coming next. And one of it was like one of those gut punch reality check conversations I was having with YB. And he said, yeah, I think you should go see a therapist. He just said it flat out like that. He's like, so no, the question was, when's the last time you talked to your therapist?
Yeah.
And this is why this is so prevalent. And I see this with leaders, with creators, with entrepreneurs. A lot of us are consistently looking to be validated by our work. So when you get that negative comment on social media, when the contract doesn't go through, when something happens in the business, you begin to spiral because you're looking to be validated by your work. Here's the truth. You've already been validated. So go do great work. You don't draw validation from your work. It's because you have been validated. You have purpose. There's lives you're supposed to change. There's some transformation that's supposed to happen. You've experienced that reality already. So because you've already been validated, just go and do great work.
I love it, man. And you've heard it there. Such an impactful message. Definitely connect with Pierre, LinkedIn, on his website. He is an author, so you can check out his books, and he's doing some amazing things. This is another episode of YB's Collaboration Corner in connection with Self-Publishing 30 Days. I am the president of sales and your LinkedIn locksmith, and I'm excited to have you be a part of this journey that we are to increase the visibility, credibility, and profitability of authors all around the globe. I want you to be encouraged, be blessed. Most of all, continue to share the faith. And how you do that is by walking in your gift that you've been given, and your gift will make room for you. We'll talk soon. Peace.